What's going on, everybody? Lorenzo here of the whatever this channel even is. I was just shown a YouTube video by a very popular YouTube personality. He's a young guy like me and he has like 15 million subscribers. I don't even watch him. My girlfriend's a fan of him and she showed me his video. You guys can probably figure out who it is. And he's in his early 20s like me, and he made a video talking about his experiences of what he's been going through with life and how him being a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber at that, has impacted his journey and the questions that it's brought up to him and how it's influenced his relationships, among many other things, and the pressures that come with being a YouTuber and everything that title represents. And keep in mind, I don't even watch this guy. This is just completely like watching a stranger. But I was really impressed and inspired because it made me realize that a lot of the stuff that he is going through and talking about and sharing with his fans is stuff that I've experienced too, but I've definitely lacked the courage to sit down and hit record on the camera and actually talk about it. I'm sure a lot of you subscribed know that I have been a YouTuber for a very long time, over 10 years at this point. But my success on YouTube was quite precocious. I don't have 15 million subscribers, nor do I have a million. I'm definitely not enormous compared to how big channels can get today, but I have a channel with over 200,000 subscribers, and I have a small following here on this channel. Of course, success on YouTube is all relative, and there's so many different levels of it, but nevertheless, I thought that there were a lot of experiences that I really wanted to share with you all as well. But most of all, where I am now with being a YouTuber and how I've gotten to this point and what the past 10 plus years were even like. So let me give you a quick history lesson. My name is Lorenzo Volpentesta and I am a stop motion animator. I have been animating ever since I was a little kid. I was taught stop motion animation when I was very, very young. And ever since then, I have been pretty much doing animation. And whenever I wasn't doing animation, every weird path that I took has led me back to doing animation. It's what I want to do for a career and what I do. And thanks to YouTube, I have been able to do it as a career. Not traditionally, but in my own special way, I have thus far. When I was young, I loved the show SpongeBob SquarePants so much, and I would rewatch them on DVD and cassettes over and over and over, to the point where I committed the episodes to memory. And I also had all of the newly released Lego SpongeBob sets. So once I learned how to do stop motion animation, I think I made like 4 or 5 full Lego SpongeBob episodes. And then one day when I was 11 years old, I made a YouTube channel, posted them all onto the channel, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this a weekly thing. And I vowed to post a new Lego SpongeBob episode every single week on Wednesdays. You may be wondering how I had the time to do that. I'm a homeschooler too, and if I went to public school, I probably wouldn't have had the time and energy to indulge that. YouTube was way different back in 2013, and eventually my content, my show, found an audience. And after the first year of posting, I had like 40,000 subscribers, I think it was. And a few years later, I had 100,000 subscribers. People didn't even know what my face looked like, but that was okay. I felt like through my love for animation, I had found an audience that I could share that love and interest with and get paid to do it. By all means, it sounds like a really, really wonderful thing, and it absolutely was, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Having that amount of success at an age where you're really not ready to comprehend it or manage it, or sometimes even legally with the ad revenue coming in, it did cause a lot of changes in my personal life. It was a learning experience in a lot of ways. There are a lot of aspects about it that I'm not really comfortable with sharing right now, perhaps at a later time. But I think the biggest part about becoming a YouTuber in my preteen to teen years, I think the biggest question that it posed to me was, geez, what do I even make of all of this? I have gone through many different phases over the past 10 plus years in being a YouTuber. When I first started making Lego SpongeBob videos, it was so much fun and amazing. But of course, there's no happily ever after. There's always going to be an aftermath, and eventually there was. It made me question, who am I? Like, am I the Lego SpongeBob guy? Is that going to be my identity? Is that who I am? Is that how I'm going to be remembered? Well, I don't want that. And I did leave the show eventually to try and go out on my own and be a YouTuber by just doing whatever I wanted. And I did a lot of really weird experimental projects during that time. I started a completely new show that was the complete opposite of Lego SpongeBob in every way. Clay Kremling. I have not revisited that show in years. I will at some point for this channel, but that show definitely was 15-year-old me trying to forge a new identity and being rebellious and being rude and being crude. I was trying to make something that was 100% me, and it definitely wasn't good, and it was definitely misguided, but I did learn a lot about myself during those years where I was making the Clay Kremling series, and when this channel was called Clay Kremling, for better or worse. I did post a lot of really stupid stuff online that I wished I did not. I said things to people that I wished I did not. I was rebellious. I was angry at the world. You know, that kind of crap when you're a 15-year-old. But during that time, I also discovered quite how much I loved making films and how much I love doing animation. I still look back on all of those claymation films that I made in 2017 with a degree of fondness that I just can't put into words, to the point where every time I've gone into a new year, I've said, oh man, I want this to be like 2017. I want to just make film after film after film all year. But the channel didn't take off. The show didn't take off. It was very experimental. It never found its audience. And I don't think the Clay Kremling show ever found its identity, but that's a subject for a whole other video. But my point being that this channel really started out and has really always been a playground for me to experiment with doing everything else that's not Lego SpongeBob, now Brick Bob Films. This channel is purely me trying to figure it out. And going back in time to 2019, after I realized maybe this new ingenious show that I thought would take off didn't take off, why don't I take all of those skills that I learned over the past few years and apply it to Lego SpongeBob? Let's see what happens. And it allowed me to reconnect with my audience to a whole new level and show them the amount of growth that occurred during that time. And since then, I certainly haven't been consistent. Over the past several years, I've made 30 new Lego SpongeBob videos, and I'm really glad that I was able to make those episodes and share them all with you guys. But after I brought the show back and made probably about 20 episodes, the question started to come, and that is, who am I? Why am I making these YouTube videos? Am I just going to be making Lego SpongeBob episodes? Is that the extent of my animation? Or should I go back to trying to do my own thing on my YouTube channel? And then it got to the point where I thought, you know what? This whole YouTube thing is just a hobby that you can do that also may make you some money. So there were a few years where I really wasn't active on YouTube. I went to college because that's the right thing to do. I studied for 2 years, and then I realized that I didn't like what I was studying, so I quit, and immediately I pursued a different career. I had been a volunteer firefighter for a few years before that, and then I pursued the career as a firefighter. I went to EMS school, I went to truck driving school, and then after getting all the credentials I needed to start applying for jobs, I thought, okay, this is a profession that no one would question, and if I worked this job, I could probably make a living off of it. But is this something that I'd be happy doing? Like, deep down, give me that sense of fulfillment? No, it wasn't. And not to mention the fact that it's not a particularly safe career, but that goes without saying. So then I left that, and I tried going to college again to study something else. But I will say this. When I returned to college, I was kind of rediscovering doing art again, animation, sculpting, and I do a bunch of different things. And the amount of joy and fulfillment, not only through the end result of creating art and animation, but just in the process, the grueling, tedious process of doing art. It was like rediscovering a part of myself that I had been neglecting for years. And I just kind of thought about all of the films I haven't made yet, the avenues I haven't explored, and projects that I have not even come close to doing, but are in my head. And then I thought, okay, why don't we start with that? Why don't I come back to this and try and figure out what is really at the core of it that I'm seeking through making my films and sharing it with my fans. And that was totally the point where I dove in fully and began working on production for the Clay Fighter musical claymation, which I posted last year. And this is pretty personal, but I will say that, you know, I spent 3 straight weeks designing puppets right here at my desk, and it was so much fun, and I was envisioning the animating and everything that had to get filmed and all that stuff. But the first night that I moved everything into my new studio, it's in a basement, just like where I animated those old projects in 2017. Keep in mind, those old projects from 2017, Jasper in a Jam, Cube and Pete, even the Clay Kremling episode 20, those were all animated in a freezing and hot garage. That was definitely not the best filming space, but it was wonderful. So when I moved everything into my new studio in the basement, working on my new film, I will never forget that night. I remember it was like March 23rd, 2024. I spent the entire afternoon cutting cardboard and rolling clay and cutting out clay stones and adding texture and all of that tedium that goes into it. And that night, I truly felt like I had switched a light back on that I spent 3 years turning off, trying to do things the right way. Because making money, however much you make from YouTube, or doing something with your audience, oh, that's not practical, that's not legitimate, that's not a real career, that's just childish stuff. When are you going to grow up? And in that moment, I just kind of experienced it all wash away. And it was one of the most powerful, painful, but also wonderful moments that I have experienced in recent years, and I never forgot about it. My experience being a YouTuber and all of the ups and downs that came with it, while also being a child and a teenager and, you know, a young man in my early 20s, going through all of those things concurrently at the same time and figuring out life and adulthood and fitting in and fulfillment and work, doing all of it at once has really put things into perspective for me. Of course, we see our external material achievements as a reflection of who we are. And there's always that question of, oh, I don't want to be known for being the Lego SpongeBob guy, or, oh, I don't want to be known for being just a YouTuber. The first 9 years that I was a YouTuber, I didn't even show my face. I did not show my face because I did not think that it was important, that it added something to my content. I never wanted to be Mr. YouTuber guy, Mr. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Lorenzo, and today I'm going to be creating a tier list of the best breakfast cereals. It's going to be so funny. Like and subscribe. Like, I've never been interested in doing any of that. And every single time I have made a YouTube video that tried to pander to trends and pander to that image, I've regretted it. And I've looked back on it and been like, that was a waste of time, and that's definitely not who I am. Some of those videos are still up on this channel, some are taken down, but honestly, I think it's just part of the process. When I started being a YouTuber, things were really different. Things felt simpler. Algorithms were different. Everything felt more homemade. Everything didn't feel so corporatized and high budget, and PewDiePie was the king of YouTube, and now it's like Mr. Beast or whatever. I don't even know. There was a point where YouTube felt like it was only good for corporate stuff, but now I'm seeing all types of YouTubers, large and very, very small, show up on my homepage. And I can say, just watching individuals share their life experiences on this platform has been very inspiring and very meaningful for me. And I got to tell you that, like, making this video, just showing my face on YouTube in general, is not easy for me. Like I said, I never wanted to show my face on YouTube. I'm a pretty introverted person. I like keeping my personal life private. I always tried to just let the animation speak for itself, and I don't want to be known for being the guy that did it all. I don't care about getting rich and famous. For me, it's not about that. Being rich or being famous doesn't make you happy. Sure, a lot of us, at least in our culture, think that fame and fortune is success, but I think what success is, at least according to brain still developing 23-year-old me, I think that being successful is just being able to make a living doing something that's fulfilling to you, and also having enough free time, good work-life balance, and having good health. I don't need to have a silly mansion or a silly car. I'll never forget that when I was 19 years old, with the money that I had made from YouTube, I bought a muscle car. Why did I do that? Because I thought it would make me happy. And as sure as I am sitting before you right now, 1 year after I got that muscle car, I had gotten rid of it and gotten a normal economy car that no human being would look twice at. And I have never been happier with just that. But once again, I don't think that I would have had the means probably to have that experience and have that perspective if it was not through YouTube. To tell you quite frankly, I really don't know what my future is with YouTube. I don't know if I'll like making animations for YouTube, or if I would feel happier doing it for a studio, or if I want to lead my own projects. I am figuring it all out, just like all of you. It's not easy, and trust me, I have my hard days. I have days where everything just looks impossible, and everything that I'm doing just feels like a foolhardy task, and everything is hopeless. Trust me, I have those days more than I would like to admit, but I want to let all of you know that if you're in the same boat as me, trying to pursue something that really gives you meaning, that does have value, and don't snuff out that voice like I did for several years. I think that no matter what choice you choose in life, there's going to be a degree of suffering that comes. And I know for me, I had to decide, what kind of suffering am I suited for? What I'm doing right now, working as an animator, as an independent, trying to get my projects off the ground and always having more lined up, it has so many challenges, and it's not easy. But right now, I'm trusting the process, And I'm trying to keep going because I know that I'm doing this for a reason. It's beyond money, fame, and success and all that stuff. I don't know how long I'll do YouTube for. I could do it for a long time. I'd like to always find a way to share my journey with you guys. It's all completely uncertain, but I will say this. Right now, at this moment in time, as I'm recording this video, even though I have my hard days, even though things feel really impossible sometimes, like I just can't succeed, despite all of that self-doubt, I feel like I am in a much better place right now than I was for a very long time. Every time I sit down in front of a camera and talk to you guys directly, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. It's totally not what I ever would have expected to do on YouTube, getting this personal with you guys. But at the same time, I can't imagine it being any different. Try and remind myself that I will never truly understand the extent of which my films have touched people. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. When I was growing up, my biggest comfort was animated film in general, but especially animation. And I have always wanted to do that, give someone else that kind of experience, to engage them and inspire them. And whether I continue to do YouTube or not, or do something else, I will always be eternally grateful to have had that opportunity to share all of my work with you guys and hopefully make you laugh, make you cry, hopefully more laugh, and be able to bring you comfort during hard times, or even make your good times that much more better. As I'm recording this, I am currently wrapping up production on a really, really big animation. I'm actually kind of nervous about releasing it because I've been working on it for so long, but scratch that. I'm not even nervous. I'm just excited, I think. It's really hard work, but I wouldn't have it any other way, and I couldn't imagine it being any different. And I want to, and I'm going to stick with it. I don't even know how to end this video. Just, I love you all, and onwards and upwards.